Hello and welcome to the very first episode of the Box Office Buddies podcast. I'm Daniel, and I've been a fan of the box office since the original Jurassic World movie came out in 2015, almost 11 years ago. That's when I joined the Reddit, and I've been a fan ever since. And I'm joined with Jonathan. Would you like to introduce yourself, Jonathan?
Yeah, hello everyone. I've been kind of looking into box office for years, just passively, because I've been a huge film buff since I want to say I was like in eighth grade. I've been paid I would always check into the results. I hadn't really been looking into it deeper until I joined this server last year, the Box Office Buddies server, and now I'm sort of looking into it deeper, looking at the dailies, all that jazz.
The aim for this podcast is I like to discuss the box office and the movies that make up the top 10 with the people of the Box Office Buddies server, but also like with anyone else who wants to listen as well, because there are a lot of fans of the box office out there. With that being said, would you like to get into this top 10 that we have this week?
So at number 10, we have, not something you see every day, a film from IFC and Shudder. This is Forbidden Fruits. It came in at 1.17 million. Believe it was in like 1,500 theaters. That's one of their bigger releases. They generally go for around like 1,000 or so. But I think lately, especially with the Shudder releases, they've been trying to push those a little more. It's apparently their best opening since Good Boy, which came out in October of last year. That was like 2.34 million. That's what it opened up to. I want to say it had around the same amount of theaters. Yeah.
So Good Boy, obviously, last year that was a pretty big film for them. I'm pretty sure that's one of their biggest that they've ever released as well.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, I remember Late Night with the Devil is also a very big release for them. That was like 2 years ago now.
No, it definitely is because that opened to about like 2.8 mil in 1,000. Also, mind you, 1,000 theaters.
Some other recent comps for this, we had Whistle earlier this year, which did 705K, and Dangerous Animals last year, which did 1.56 million. It's a really good opening for IFC films for sure.
Yeah, yeah, I'm sure they're not upset about it.
No, especially when like a lot of their films open in the 100 to 250K range.
Had a decent amount of buzz going in, I guess. They were able to get it to at least a mil, which I mean, it's no small feat for them. They don't have the resources that most of these other studios have. So, I mean, hey, it's awesome that made it.
And yeah, it made the top 10, which is a very good sign for the IFC. They aren't usually in the top 10. Talking about another film that is indie horror, we have Undertone at number 9 with $1.65 million, which is down 45% from its second weekend. Currently, it's sitting at $18.46 million domestically. There are no worldwide numbers at the moment. Same with Forbidden Fruits. These are domestic only for now. But Undertone, it saw a sizable drop, one could say, last weekend.
Which makes sense. It's a extreme slow burn of a film. Audience reception wasn't amazing. I know it got like a C cinema score. On Rotten Tomatoes, I want to say it's rotten in terms of the audience score. Let me see. Yes, 50%. And I mean, I can see why. It's like it's a movie that hinges entirely on like one actor, and there's a lot of dead air because of that. Yeah, and they did the classic sell that indie horror is doing right now, where it's like, oh my god, guys, this is the scariest movie you will ever see. You have to see this. It's gonna scare the shit out of you. You're not going to you're not gonna be the same after you see Undertone. And it's just you can't ever live up to those standards. However, regardless, I think needless to say, this is just unquestionably amazing for A24. because any way you look at it, because 500,000 budget is what it's estimated to have. Now, they acquired it for like a seven-figure deal. So that's still, I mean, that's still great. Like these numbers we're seeing are entirely domestic.
Yeah, and if it does open further worldwide, hopefully it will do well there. I know it's coming out in my country, the UK, on April 10th. So it's definitely rolling out. It's just I think it's like the film, it's going to be a slow burn.
I'll be very curious to see where it performs like overseas. I mean, regardless, unquestionably a good sleeper hit. I am sure nobody is upset with this. At number 8, we have Goat. It's still hanging in there. It is at 2.15 mil this weekend. That's a 37% drop. And that brings it to 100 domestic. That's been a question for a bit. Like, is it going to make 100 domestic? It's going to quite get there, but it did it. We're here. And I mean, I got to say, impressive. It's had a major piece of competition in the last few weeks or so. It's still hanging on. And I'm sure they're very happy with this. This is their first original release in theater. Sony Pictures Animation's first original release in theaters since.
It's been a while.
I mean, it's been like it's first of all just their latest release since Across the Spider-Verse. That's insane alone. But they've kind of been relegated to Netflix, which is for some of these things kind of a tragedy. What's their last one?
Yeah, obviously K-pop Demon Hunters might have been. I think that might have been the last release.
That was their last release. Well, no. Actually, technically, their last release was Fixed. But other than that, their last major release, let's say that K-pop Demon Hunters.
The last major release was K-pop Demon Hunters, which was a massive success, and it's gonna have a sequel in 2029. Goat. I'm not sure we're gonna get a sequel for Goat.
I think I found what their last original film was. Like, not a sequel. Last original film in theaters. From 2017, The Star. I mean, no, that's IP also, but Into the Spider-Verse was the first in a franchise, but everything else has been like sequels. And yeah, they also did the Angry Birds movie 2 in 2019, and then that's when they got into the Netflix hole. The next 4 movies, all Netflix. And then Across the Spider-Verse came out in theaters. 2 more to Netflix. And then we got Go. And what do you mean we're getting a Wish Dragon 2 next year? This is news to me. Um,
So Goat overseas, it's not performing as well as the US, but it's got 80 million overseas right now, and that brings it to 180.82 million worldwide, which is a pretty good total given it does have an 80 million budget, so it's doubled that budget at least, and it's getting higher.
yeah, I've noticed like original animated films tend to struggle in today's market as well. So I think this is a win. I mean, it's not like a runaway success, but like it's definitely a win.
I don't think there'll be many goat tears about this number.
Yeah. Yeah.
But going into number 7, we have Scream 7,
Scream
which
7.
did 2.63 million this weekend, down 39%. And it currently is sitting at 118.7 million domestic, which is like, I'm pretty sure that's the highest grossing Scream movie domestically. Internationally, 85.4 million, bringing it to become the first Scream movie over the 200 million worldwide mark, $204.1 million.
Lots of different ways to look at this. On one hand, it's good for theaters. On the other hand, it kind of sucks. But
The first way to look at it is if you're Paramount,
yes, they're happy. They are happy.
with a $45 million budget, it's quadrupled that at least. It's not gonna 5 times it, but they don't really need to do that. They've already more than made their money back. Scream 6 was a massive hit.
It really was running off a lot of goodwill from Scream 6. Like, it's not the only factor, but, like, that movie just had great reception all around. Like, it was the biggest movie of the time, like, the biggest Scream movie of the time, and it was probably the most, like, critically acclaimed sequel, I'd say. It just brought like, I mean, I think Scream 5 was already bringing some of that goodwill back, but, like, Scream 6 just absolutely brought it back tenfold to the point that, like, a lot of people were willing to come back for 7 to the point that, like, some of the behind the scenes stuff, I don't think really dampened it that much.
Obviously, there was the firing of Melissa Barrera, who was the main character of the series at that point. I think I've said this to you before, uh, in voice calls like this. It's Melissa Barrera, if she said what she said in 2023 today, she wouldn't have been fired. She would still be in the Scream franchise, but because she was a supporter very early, unfortunately, that is the way that it all happened, and I think a lot of people thought that, "Oh, we're gonna boycott Spyglass, we're gonna do this." Unfortunately, it's another example of social bubbles not really being a thing in the real world. Twitter can't do much, unfortunately, when it comes to boycotting Starbucks or Scream 7 or anything really.
Like I said, there is a positive to take from this. I mean, it's great for theaters. Theaters need great openings nowadays. I think this year has been shown a lot of promise overall. I mean, I don't think there have been any like just complete like baffling duds, like everything that bombed, I feel like was just set to bomb.
Like Mercy.
Yeah. There's been a few disappointments. We're gonna be getting to one I kind of think was like a slight disappointment, but even then, not like a flop or anything. Like I said, it's good for getting butts and seats. In terms of Paramount, their way of looking at the Scream franchise, it's definitely a reason for them to like keep pushing through it. The problem is, I just worry they're going to take all the wrong lessons from this, quality wise, and just make the blandest, safest, like Scream movies imaginable. They're going to drop just the entire identity of Scream because that's kind of what this movie did. I didn't hate it like some people did. I don't think you did either, right?
It's definitely the worst Scream movie that's ever been released.
Unquestionably the worst. There's just no like soul to it. That's the problem. There's like fun to be had, but like nothing beyond that.
You've mentioned this before to me about Scream 3 revisionism, and I think that's probably the note to finish this on is that Scream 7 caused Scream 3 revisionism because it was the worst of the franchise. So do you want to bring us on to number 6?
Yes. All right. So this is the one I was talking about was like, considering the potential, maybe a little disappointing for the studio. I don't think it's a loss or anything, but I can't imagine it's what they were hoping. But at number 6 in weekend 2, we have Ready or Not 2, Here I Come. Let me just say, is the horrible title. Like, just go with Ready or Not 2 or go with Ready or Not, Here I Come. Why are we doing Ready or Not 2, Here I Come? Like, bro. Anyway, it made 4.13 million. That's a 54% drop. Not horrific, but not like what the first did. I mean, the first had really good legs.
Yeah, granted that did have Labor Day weekend.
This one has just been puzzling, absolutely puzzling as to like what they were thinking with this release. They've been going so wishy-washy. So it was originally supposed to come out April 10th, I believe. Then they moved it to this past weekend, which we're going to get to later why that was like an insane choice because of our number 3 movie of the weekend being almost the same movie, the exact same plot points, the exact same hook. Like it is insane how close they are. That I think they caught wind of that and decided to move it up to the weekend that the biggest movie of the year so far came out. I guess they were trying to make it like counter programming, but it just wasn't enough. And it's just it came out too late. This needed to come out like 3 years ago, I think.
This movie It's currently at 16.41 million domestic, 7.2 on international. It brings the overall total to 23.62 million worldwide, and it is on a $40 million budget, which that's a fair budget for what it is. It looks more expensive than 40 million to me.
I was kinda surprised when I saw that, and maybe it's partially because, like, it's got a big cast as well. It's gonna be even more surprising once again when we talk about its, twin movie. I think it's reasonable to say that, like, it's probably going to end up slightly in the green.
Yeah, I think especially when it comes out EVOD in streaming, it's gonna be in the black.
I think the trailer got a lot of buzz when it came out, and like, "Oh, look, they're making a Ready or Not sequel. I love that movie, Ready or Not." And they got a little overconfident.
If we comp it to the original ended up with 28.7 million domestic, 27 well, basically 28 million international, 56.7 million worldwide. It did quite well. Obviously, this one did 4.13 in its second weekend. That one did 5.91 million. That was a Labor Day weekend. It did drop 61% the next weekend. Depending on how next weekend goes, if it has a lower drop, maybe that'll save a little bit of face. It's not gonna end up being close to the original, I think, which is unfortunate.
From my understanding, reception overall is, pretty good. The critical reception's not quite as good, but audience reception seems to be about the same.
Yeah, it is basically the kind of the same move.
Yes, it's like for some people that could leave people thinking that's pointless, which admittingly it is a little forced as a sequel, but like most sequels are in generals.
And I think the pairing of Catherine Newton and Samara Weaving elevate it higher than the first one in terms of just like this isn't just pointless to like there's not nothing new here. There is new elements. Duranda Harder Revenge is at number 5, and that had basically the same drop, 54% for a 4.6 million second weekend. Domestically, this is at 22.63 million, which makes it the biggest ever Indian film domestically.
Already?
Yes, already. I'm pretty sure that is above Bahubali: The Conclusion from 2017. Internationally, it's currently at 67 million, for a worldwide total of 89.63. The positive part about this is the budget for this film, combined with the first film, both films are like over 3.5 hours, is 26.5 to $27 million, which is 250 to 255 crore, which is that would be in rupees. So I've translated it, so we have an understanding of like what that is in dollars. Part one made just over $136 million worldwide. So if we put those together, that's going to be well over $200 million. So possibly 10 times its budget by the time both films are finished at the box office.
Unquestionably just a mega hit. Like
I've heard some stuff about what's in the film. Like there's a bit about the relationship between India and Pakistan. I know I've heard it's not exactly the best light. It doesn't have the best audience scores.
so like when I have Rotten Tomatoes pulled up right now. If I'm not mistaken, both movies kind of have pretty bad critical reception. So this one has a 40%.
It's a little weird because the original has a 3.6 on Letterboxd from what I've seen.
Yeah. What does the sequel have on Letterboxd? Because it's got a 95 on Rotten Tomatoes audience score.
Okay, that one's got a 3.5 on Letterboxd, the new one.
So its audience is liking it. The first movie got a 35% critical score, 96 audience. So the audience is liking it, but it's not really hitting with critics.
I'm happy that there's like this massive Indian hit out there because I love it when these international hits make the top 10.
It's definitely interesting to see.
I think this one's 3 hours and 55 minutes as well, which makes it a little even more impressive.
I can't do that. Number 4, she's back, or she's been back. Get our latest Colleen Hoover adaptation. This is one of the newest trends we've had lately. These movies make an insane amount of money for the most part. This one is more kind of modest, but like it's still doing very well. But it's Reminders of Him. Is this its third weekend?
It is, yeah.
In its third weekend, it grossed 4.7 mil. That is a 41% drop. That brings the total up to 41.07 mil domestic. Internationally, it has 28.61 mil, bringing the total to 69.68 mil worldwide on a $25 million budget.
Yeah. I think Colleen Hoover is gonna be happy with this one.
This is her screenwriting debut, if I'm not mistaken.
If we compare it to the third weekend of Regretting You, which came out October last year, that one was at 38.13 million by this time in its run.
So this is doing better.
Yes, but then there is a slight caveat that the third weekend of Regretting You was 6.65 million. It was down 15%.
This also opened much higher than Regretting You, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think it opened about 4 million higher-ish.
Yeah, because I pulled up Regretting You. It looks like it opened to 13.7.
In the end, that made it to 48.8 million. I think it's possible that this does match that.
Yeah, I think you can.
I think internationally it might be able to match the 41 that did as well. A good amount in the tank to get it to around 90 million worldwide, which would be well over 3 times its budget. And we will be getting a lot more of these, I imagine.
We've already got another one coming out later this year. Yeah, it seems like the audience reception is pretty good for this one. It's got an 88% audience score. Critical reception's not as bad as some of the others.
Yeah, I remember the Metacritic was about on par with It Ends With Us.
Yeah, honestly, so I haven't seen It Ends With Us, but I have seen Regretting You, and I have seen Reminders of Him. I thought this was like a shockingly decent movie. Like, honestly, it does the job. It's a little sappy. I mean, I think you kind of know that going in.
Yeah, these films are supposed to be sappy and kind of like campy in a way.
In some ways, yeah. This one just I personally thought this had like a oddly compelling central dynamic.
Maybe the word I'm looking for more is melodramatic.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely melodramatic. Personally, I thought it was a solid enough movie, and I can see why it's hitting with people. I couldn't really see that personally for Regretting You.
I know it's trash, but I really enjoyed it.
I listen, I love it for all the wrong reasons. I thought it was insane. Like, I thought it was very funny. Yeah, I did not think it was a good movie. This one, I thought this was, not an amazing film, but definitely solid, like, enjoyable enough.
We're gonna move on to number 3 after that, which is a new entry. We have They Will Kill You with an opening weekend of 4.97 million
Oh boy.
domestic and 4 million international, which brings its worldwide debuts to 8.97 million. And this is on a $20 million budget. This is $6 million more expensive than the aforementioned Ready or Not 2. Here I come.
How? Also, just how?
I will say, I really love the styling of this movie, at least.
Me too. Me too.
I'm a little sad that it didn't open any higher.
Yeah, this I can't see this turning out very well for them because I'm sure the drops are going to be pretty steep.
It's contending screen space with like some Super Mario and the drama and Project Hail Mary, Hoppers.
It's got direct competition still out in theaters. It opened to only like really Ready or Not is not that far away from it in its second weekend.
Yeah, it's just over half what Ready or Not opened to.
These two movies are still trying to hold screens at the same time. I mean,
I feel like Ready or Not 2 would win over in its third weekend.
I think it is going to. The reception is just always a lot better than They Will Kill You. Not to say They Will Kill You is a bad movie, far from it. I think They Will Kill You is definitely worth watching. But like you said, the style is more impressive to me. The problem is everything else around it is a little less so, you know. The sister dynamic is not nearly as, which it's crazy that both of these movies have like a two estranged sisters like rekindling their relationship as like the primary emotional core. I mean, to be fair, they were there first. They held on their original release date. They were never going to do well against. I mean, despite it being like maybe a little more niche IP, it's still an IP of a film with basically the exact same premise as this.
It's weird because that one was Searchlight. This one's New Line, which I'm pretty sure is Warner Brothers.
Yes, that's Warner Brothers.
It's strange because I'm pretty sure this has happened before. Where we have like two very similar films that release the same type of time. I think one of the main ideas I have of this happening is White House Down. I think is it Olympus Has Fallen? One of the Has Fallen movies.
We had this a couple years ago, actually, with it was 2024. We first had Immaculate come out. I want to say that was like late March, Immaculate came out, and then early April, the first Omen came out. And I haven't seen Immaculate. I have seen the first Omen, but from what I've heard, they're like almost the same movie.
Yeah, Immaculate has an ending that I would consider like audiences probably should have given that an F cinema score.
Okay, number two, still hanging on there. Hoppers with 12.16 mil weekend. That's a 32% drop. 138.51 million domestic total. 159.53 million international total. That brings it to all around $297.95 million on a $150 million budget. They needed this. They needed this badly.
It's good for the goodwill of Pixar, and it's also just about doubled its budget now, which is a good sign. It's still got a good bit in the tank as well, especially internationally, I think. But this currently is the 23rd biggest Pixar movie. It's behind Cars 3, 152.9, Elemental at 154.4, and A Bug's Life, 162.8. I'm pretty sure it can get above all three of those.
I think it could. At the very least, Cars 3 and Elemental. I think it can definitely get there. Could probably get above Bug's Life as well.
I think we're not looking at a $200 million gross anymore.
No, it's not happening. With Mario on the horizon, absolutely not. I think it's gonna hold well enough against Mario still. It might see like a slightly bigger drop, but I don't think it's gonna be anything too upsetting.
Yeah, I think there might also possibly be some spillover audience as well. So anybody who like maybe they can't get into the Mario movie, they'll possibly end up in Hoppers.
That's true. Hoppers, Mario is one of the most famous IPs, I'd say, but like it's still for somebody who doesn't care about Mario, really like what is there? I mean, like what is there to even appreciate with that movie? Hoppers, you don't need that. It's just its own thing.
Yeah, it's a good sign for Pixar, and hopefully they can keep up with. They've got Toy Story 5 next.
They have needed this for their original films. Like they haven't had a successful original film since Coco, I think. So, well, Elemental, kinda.
Is their next one Gato?
Gato, yeah.
Hopefully, I'm hoping Gato is a good one as well.
I think for these original films, they gotta stop pushing them as big summer tentpoles. This was a great release for this. I kind of hope they have the sequels as the tentpoles, right? Because obviously those are going to do gangbusters in the middle of the summer. But something like Elio as like a tentpole summer release that just didn't work. It did not work. So
Number one this weekend. It's the same movie that was number one last weekend. It's Project Hail Mary in its second weekend, and that is a number of 54.06 million, down 33%. Notably, that is a higher second weekend than Dune Part 2 and also Oppenheimer. Domestically, it's at 163.83 million. Internationally, 136.9 million, and it's over the $300 million mark worldwide, 300.73 million on a $200 million budget. So it's a sizable budget, but it's already pushing up over 300 million, and it's showing no signs of slowing down really. It was a 10% drop internationally, a 33% drop domestically. It's an insane hold for this movie.
I mean, the reception, I don't think you can get like the reception is about as good as it gets for this movie, just all around. Critics, audience, everything. Like people adore this movie.
And rightly so.
Rightfully so, as we're going to get to, rightfully so, because this film is just I mean, no any way you look at this, I see this as just a complete win for cinema in general. Because movies like this have been just struggling. You know, not really IP. It's based on a book. It's a popular book, but it's not IP. It's high budget. It has stars someone who has not been the biggest box office draw historically, even though the internet would have you believe he's like, one of the biggest stars on the planet.
This is already his second biggest film of his career.
They finally showed up. They didn't show up for like anything other than Barbie, and in all honesty, I don't think he was the reason Barbie did well. If he were the reason, then where were they for the Fall Guy? I'm just saying.
You know who else this is very good for?
MGM, Amazon.
Yes, them too. Andy Weir,
Oh yes, yes.
the writer of the book, also the writer of The Martian, which also did incredibly well. I would assume we are probably getting more adaptations of his works.
He has one more book. So I've read both The Martian and his second book. His second book has been in like development. The adaptation has been in development hell since it came out in like 2017. It was attached to 20th Century Fox. Around 2018, that's when the Disney buyout happened. So it kind of got lost in the shuffle there. So it's kind of languished. But guess who was attached to direct that movie?
Oh, I think I know, but I'll let you reveal it.
It was, in fact, the directors of Project Hail Mary, Bill Lord, Christopher Miller. With this movie doing as well as it did, I'm sure we're going to see an announcement for that one coming up pretty soon.
Yeah, and there is already talks about Project Hail Mary having a sequel. I'm not sure where they would go.
That's ridiculous. Just like adapt his other book, and then when he has another book coming out, adapt that. Like I'm sure he's going to be working on another book pretty soon. It's been a while. This book came out in like 2021.
I would say that whatever he makes next will probably get turned into a film as well.
It shows that The Martian was not a fluke, like at all. The Martian was not just like a perfect storm. There's a very clear audience demand for these movies.
Let's segue into a review of this movie, actually, because this is the movie I've picked for my review section. I absolutely adored this movie so much. It's almost perfect, I would say.
I would agree.
It's feel good. It's very emotional. Like there is like three times I was almost crying, and one of those times I did cry. um, it looks beautiful.
Yeah.
Like some of the cinematography in this movie, knowing that they didn't opt for like massive green screen CGI all the time. It was always just in camera effects, and also there was obviously CGI, but I think the lack of green screen helped make it look a bit better than it would have done if they used extensive amounts of it. But the astrophage scene especially looks incredible, especially in IMAX as well.
This, of course, was shot by one of the cinematography goats of recent years, Greg Fraser. He was responsible for Dune Part 2. He shot The Batman, The Creator, which honestly, I know that film has a little mixed reception, but you cannot take away that that movie looks stunning for its budget, especially. Like, this man knows how to make something look just beautiful on the screen. And I think Project Hail Mary is just a testament to that.
The cast here is like perfectly cast all around, I think. Sandra Hüller, who we've seen in Anatomy of a Fall, The Zone of Interest. Like, she's an incredible actress, and she has one of the times where I almost cried in this movie. It's one of the most moving karaoke scenes I've ever seen in a movie. It's a perfect needle drop as well.
Oh, absolutely. I think if I'm not mistaken, this is actually her first Hollywood film, which she's going to have another with Digger this year.
Alongside Tom Cruise.
But yeah, this is her first Hollywood film, and she just absolutely, like, obviously it's mainly the Ryan Gosling show. Nothing needs to be said about how he's able to carry the screen. But even still, Sandra Hüller just finds a way to just command the screen in her few scenes. It's really impressive.
It's a very impressive performance, and I don't okay, no, I don't think it's going to get actors in for the Oscars, but I do feel like there is a lot of below the line and possibly a Best Picture.
It's going to get a lot of nominations, I think.
Again, I don't think it's going to get actors in per se. I do think there's going to be a lot of competition.
The only one that's like maybe Gosling.
I think it'd be a long shot, personally.
It would be a long shot, a Hail Mary, but it could happen. I think it possibly could. I'm kind of also leaning towards he doesn't get in for acting, but, you never know. We could have a season like last Oscar season where it's just, like, everything coming out later in the year, just, like, and then we see Sinners getting, like, what? Did it get 16 noms despite coming out earlier in the year?
Did he get 60 nominations? That had an April 17th release date in 2025 as well. There is a lot of competition, I think, this year as well, though. Including there's two that have Sandra Hüller in actually.
Yeah, Digger.
Yeah. And also Fatherland, which is from the director, I think, of Civil
Cold War?
Cold War, that's the one. I was gonna say Civil War.
Alex Garland already? Oh my god, the man works like crazy. I thought he retired from directing for all of 1 year.
But yeah, that's Project Hail Mary. What are you reviewing this week?
Okay, so we talked about it oh so long ago at the beginning of this video, actually, very briefly. But I think it was Wednesday I saw Forbidden Fruit. So this is obviously the newest Shudder release. I try to go to as many of these as possible. I really like what they make. And this one is like, I haven't seen The Craft, but from what it sounds like, this is basically The Craft meets Mean Girls.
You've sold me already.
Definite emphasis on Mean Girls. More than anything, it was influenced by Mean Girls. And you can tell just from the start that like Diablo Cody was involved because of just how they talk. But anyway, it's about this little weird witchy cult of these employees of this one store in the mall. And they have this coven sort of. They don't really they claim they're like putting hexes on people, but it's not really. It's the horror. Let's just say, so this is a horror movie. The horror kind of comes in much later, and it kind of takes you, like, it is gobsmacking when it jumps in because the movie is nothing like that for like the first like hour 10, and then just suddenly you see just some of the, like, I saw some of the goriest scenes I've seen this year out of fucking nowhere. But yeah, no, this movie is, I thought this was hilarious. Like, absolutely hilarious. One of the funnier films this year that I've seen. The cast is just phenomenal, and I have to give special shout out to someone who I have never seen this actress bring it in anything else like this one, but she is probably my favorite supporting performance of the year. It's Lily Reinhart from Riverdale.
She was also in Hustlers.
That's right, she was in Hustlers.
She was in the 2019 Charlie's Angels, apparently.
I didn't watch it, so I would know. Um, but no, she has a very good dry sense of humor. But at the same time, in the climax, she gives like this insane monologue. This like just lingers on her face for like a good like 2 minutes or so. It is like actually kind of terrifying. It's one of the best scenes this year, I think. And what else? Oh yeah, the rest of the cast is great too. We got Lola Tung, Victoria Pedretti, Alexandra Shipp. They're all great as well. It's just it's a really fun, dumb horror comedy that like gets really messed up near the end. I would recommend it.
Okay, I'll definitely have to look it up when it releases here at some point.
I get the feeling you would really like it, just knowing the type of horror movies you like.
So, what we're going to do next, we're going to move on to predictions for the next weekend. Now, what do you have at number 5, Jonathan?
Number 5, I have Reminders of Him, and I'm thinking this is going to make around the 2.5 million range.
2.5 million. I have the same movie. I have it at 2.82 million. So, I've got a little bit higher. I'm possibly fireballing it slightly, to be fair. But okay, at number 4, I have Hoppers. I have it at 6.08 million, which is 50% dropish. What do you have it at?
I pretty much have it at the same.
Yeah, 6 million as well. So what do you have at number 3?
Okay, I'm gonna imagine you have the same thing. I have the drama. I'm personally thinking, just because of the cast, I think it's gonna do very well for A24. I'm gonna put it at around 10 to 11 mil opening, which I mean for them, like I said, I think that's a fantastic opening.
That is a very good opening. I personally have it at 15 million, which is again maybe it's a bit of a high ball again.
This one, I think we really gotta wait and see how the reception's gonna be, because there's some possibility, like because the marketing entirely hinges around like Zendaya reveals this like horrifying secret. And they have completely omitted that from the marketing. I think almost everyone is going to see this movie just by saying like, "What the hell did they say?" By the way, this is produced by Ari Aster. Just pointing that out.
My theory is I was using challenges as a bit of a comp. So I did 15.01 million. So I kind of basically went flat with that.
Zendaya is definitely a draw.
That is true. She was big.
I don't know if Pattinson's as much, but Zendaya is unquestionably a draw.
And then at number 2, I have Project Hail Mary. I have it at 29.73, which is about a 45% drop. Again, maybe I'm being a bit too kind to these movies on like my drops for them, but I'm happy to be wrong. I want everything to do well.
I have it at like a slightly steeper drop, still pretty good hold, and I because I love this movie, I kind of just hope it does as well. I have it at 25 mil. Now we have like I'm just being a little realistic. It is losing its IMAX screens, although apparently there's rumblings that like after Mario's done with his IMAX, it's gonna get him back for like a weekend. More than deserves it. I think like it's gonna be one of the biggest spectacles of the year. It really deserves those screens, I think. Yes. Speaking of which, what could possibly be number one?
Well, what do you have at number 1 then?
Let me look. 2026 films. I just want to see the calendar. Oh, yeah, the Super Mario Galaxy movie. I have it around the same as the original, like a little lower. I have it at 143 million.
I have it at 147.
Yeah, I mean it's about the same. The first opened to like 146 mil. I think it's gonna do about the same as that one, and I think it's gonna be one of the biggest movies of the year.
So recapping my top five, I have Mario 147, Project Hail Mary at 29.73, Drama at 15, Hoppers at 6.08, and Reminders of Him at 2.82.
All right, and me, I have the Mario Galaxy movie at 143 million, Project Hail Mary at around 25 million. The drama, I'm thinking between 10 and 11 million. Hoppers, 6 million, and Reminders of Him, 2.5 million.
Lovely. So we'll see how those pan out for the next week. Thank you, Jonathan, for joining me for a pilot episode of this Box Office Buddies podcast. Thank you, everyone, for listening to this episode of the Box Office Buddies podcast. Goodbye, everyone.
See ya.